welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pod Mindful Media and Communication, but this time actually not as mindful, not as much about communication, because we're adding a second segment for the week, which is called Funk Out Loud, #FOL. Because I did realize that I talk a lot about, of course, media communication, because I mean, that's my job, that's what I study, that's what I teach, that's what I'm interested in. But there are also so many other things that I'm interested in and that I don't get to talk about. So I decided, hey, let me talk to you about it. Thanks to everybody who pushed me into that direction. I appreciate that. Let's see how it goes, and let's see if you enjoy funking out loud and listening to my rambles and maybe having one or two discussions about all those things. So today is a quick start, jump into the deep end, so to speak, when it comes to the funk out loud segment or part of the podcast. I just threw a few topics together that I'm really interested in, and then let's see if there's anything popping up afterwards, if there are any interests, and so on. Okay, so it's going to be very laid back. It's going to be not as organized, if you can call my other episodes organized. Structure is more like reflective nature, just thinking about stuff that happened, observations, maybe sometimes random, sometimes some events, and so on. And so this week I did write a few notes and thought about a few personal experiences that I think could be interesting to share, because there might be some discussion possibilities coming along with those. And the first one that I actually found myself thinking about, I want to talk about it, is, well, we went to one championship, the MMA event. So for those who are not familiar, get familiar. So I'm very much into martial arts, and if you're one of the few people that follows my not professional, I hope there are way more people following my professional accounts. I appreciate it. But if you follow my personal, you see me training Muay Thai a lot, right? So I'm very much into martial arts. And so there's one championship here in Asia. As you know, I live in Thailand, and it's like the UFC of Asia, so to speak. Yeah, not as big, not successful, but they're here, and here in Asia they're very big. So they have events every week. And so we went to the Saturday morning event. It's Saturday morning are the pay-per-views, because that's then Friday night in the US. And so those pay-per-views are usually targeted towards an US audience to increase their foothold in the US, while they also have Friday night events here, local time, for the Asian market, of course. Okay, so but usually the bigger stars are on those Saturday morning events to broadcast to the US. Okay, so went there to the world famous Lumpini Stadium, the Madison Square Garden of the East. That's what they always say on the broadcast. If you ever watched the one championship event, they're always like, we welcome you from the Madison Square Garden of the East, Lumpini Stadium. And the thing is, so Lumpini Stadium used to be a very famous Muay Thai stadium, kind of downtown-ish in Bangkok, okay? Now they want you to think that they renovated it, but they actually rebuilt a new Lumpini Stadium, which is not downtown Bangkok, which is like the other way, which is good for us here, good for me, because it's not too far from where I live, so it's easy to get there. It's just not downtown Bangkok, okay? It's the opposite way, actually. And it's so uncomfortable, you wouldn't believe it. So we went already last time, like a few weeks ago once. So we knew that it's going to be uncomfortable, so we took some pillows and jackets to sit on, because it's just concrete blocks. It's just sitting on concrete, unless you pay for like a VIP section, which is then double or triple the price of the normal section. Doesn't give you a much better view, just the opposite side, just on the TV camera side of things. That's probably the main difference. Other than that, really probably not worth it. So now stuck to the affordable ones, but then took pillows and stuff, because already knew that it's gonna hurt. Okay, the atmosphere overall was kind of cool. So I've been to many One Championship events before. Before they went to like the big arena here in Bangkok, the Impact Arena, when they still would have events in a cage. I do think MMA in a cage, even Muay Thai in a cage, looks just way cooler. Muay Thai kickboxing in a ring, of course, works because it's where it originated, so that you can use the ropes and stuff like this, like moving back and forth, no problem. MMA in a ring with ropes is just ridiculous. Like, I mean, when you grapple and then you fall half out of the ring, they pull you back in, and then you have to start at the same position again, which is understandable, but just looks so awkward, so weird. So they really should figure out a way to get a cage into the Lumpini Stadium. Other than that, I do think Lumpini Stadium is a good choice for one championship because Impact was just very empty. They threw out so many free tickets every time when I was at Impact Arena, and it's still empty. So getting a better atmosphere at Lumpini Stadium is much easier. Of course, you also have lots of ticket scalpers there because less seats there. Still lots of free seats, especially in the VIP section. You could see that lots of seats are free. And yeah, but overall the atmosphere is much better. Also lots of betting, of course, going on like in most Muay Thai events. So yeah, overall the atmosphere much better at Lumpini Stadium compared to previously at Impact Arena. Okay, for this particular event, the main event, Anatoly Malikin, 3-division world champion on 85, 205, and then heavyweight, versus Rukruk Umar Kane, I think, that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure. Incredibly boring fight. And I know if you don't fight yourself, you shouldn't be hating. But oh my God, was this boring? And I mean, I think I've seen all of Malikin's fights and won championship, not live in person, but online. Especially the ones against Rene de Ridder, right, who just debuted in the UFC. And I mean, he smoked him. He stuffed his takedowns, and he was great. He popped his jab, went to the wrestling, took him down, ground and pound and stuff. He had nothing. It was really disappointing. Not that Rukruk had more. This was also disappointing. I mean, Rukruk, all he does is just shoot, push you, lift you up, try to lift you up, push you across the I was about to say cage, the ring, and then just hold you for the whole round. And that's how he won a split decision. That's how he became champion, by holding Anatoly Malikin in the corner. And then you could say, of course, I mean, well, if the other guy can just hold you and you can't do anything, you lose. Fair. But it's just so boring. Oh my God. So also Herb Dean. Herb Dean calls for action all the time. In this case, he did not. He was just like clapping a few times, like, let's go, guys. But he didn't break up. He held him for 3 rounds straight in the corner. I mean, okay, if that's your style, okay, cool. But then don't go for like breaking up and stuff in other fights. Like then at least be coherent. Herb Dean, what's up? It's Herb Dean fault. And in Derek Lewis' voice, Herb Dean fault. Yeah, so not impressed by the fight, not impressed by refereeing. Yeah, so okay, congratulations, Rukruk did what he could do to actually win the fight. So, and Malikin should have been better. I mean, he probably underestimated him. He thought he's just gonna easily avoid him, jab him, take him down, and then ground and pound him, and he just couldn't. So that was stupid game plan. I'm sorry, but it's my funk out loud, so I can say those words. Lastly, what was annoying in the main event, Rukruk lifted up Malikin twice and threw him to the ground. Lonely Island. Threw him to the ground. And then, of course, Malikin's arms go out when he's in the air, and then he hang on the ropes for like a split second. So he didn't even try to hold on to the ropes. He just like, his arms got up, he like, and just briefly held on automatically to the ropes, so he got a yellow card for it. Like, what are you supposed to do if someone throws you up in the air? Get a freaking cage, okay? Because while in other exchanges he did hold on to the ropes on purpose, and Herb Dean didn't see it. But in this case, I mean, he got thrown up in the air. What are you supposed to do? You keep your arms like close to your body. I mean, of course you try to like, I don't know, get your balance or whatever. So of course, then you might touch the rope. That was ridiculous. Herb Dean, not his best night, I think. Okay, but it isn't enough about the main event. It's already too much time spent on the main event. That's actually not worth it. What was worth it was the co-main event, because it was Rotang, and you say Rotang, not Rotang, to all those non-Thais out there, Rotang, Rotang got stripped of the title ahead of the fight because he missed weight, I think, by half a pound, which is crazy. Or he didn't make hydration, I think, right? Maybe I'm not. I don't want to say something wrong. He got stripped of the title. Maybe it was not just a weight miss. Maybe it was a hydration mishap. So not quite sure. It's a bit different to the UFC. They have weight and hydration tests in one. So he was not eligible to get his title back. Jacob Smith, his opponent, if he were to win, he would have been eligible to win the title. Of course, it did not happen. Rotang did not fear Jacob Smith at all. Started pretty arrogant, threw a spinning back kick in the very first round, which you never see Rotang doing fancy stuff like this. He's usually, while he's a showman, when it comes to his weapons, he's usually very basic. That's not an insult, but like he usually sticks to like power punches, power elbows, knees, kicks, but no fancy flashy stuff. The showmanship comes with like his facial expressions and his body movement, but usually not with spinning back. So he threw a spinning back, a high kick. Jacob Smith, it didn't land like very closely. So he did not respect Jacob Smith at all. They fought once before. He beat him up very badly, and the same thing happened again this time. Jacob Smith did throw a few punches in the beginning. He landed a few, but like I said, Rotang did not take him serious. The punches didn't face him at all, and every time Jacob Smith did land something, Rotang then just hit the switch and threw something back like triple the impact. Like Jacob Smith lands a jab, Rotang would throw back like jab punch and like a slicing elbow or something. Like, so okay, you hit me, now I'm gonna hit you twice as hard. Other than that, he didn't really try too much. It was 5 rounds of domination, even though some people who watched online told me they think Jacob Smith won the first 2 rounds, which is, there's no way that Jacob Smith won anything. He did stick around until the end, so that was pretty impressive because he was really bloody, and his whole left side was so red after the first or second round already. Like, and not just the ribs, but then also his leg, his face. He was bleeding like crazy after those elbows. So respect for really sticking until the end. That was really impressive. He looked super ripped, Jacob Smith. I'm not sure if that's like, well, if that's the right approach to Rotang, but I mean, you got to try different things, right? If you can't match him with intensity, you match him with power maybe, but that didn't work. So what else can you do is the question. So yeah, Rotang was very dominant. There was no doubt about it that he would win, and in the end, Jacob Smith was very respectful, but also had lots of respect for Rotang's power. Like every time Rotang just lifted his arms, Jacob Smith would retreat, and Rotang was having fun with him. You could say a bit arrogant at times, but it was all like with a smile. He even then was faking like headbutts, which he didn't do, and then the referee Olivier Coste was like, "Hey, come on, what is this?" And then Rotang just kissed Olivier Coste on the forehead. He was like, "Sorry, White," and then just joking, Lolan, just joking, and then he just continued fighting. So he didn't feel threatened at all, and I think he also wanted to make up for losing the title on the scale or the hydration test. So next up, then afterwards, Takeru came into the ring. They had a face-off. They've been teasing this for a while now. I'm glad Takeru can walk again. Quick reference to his first fight in one championship. Let's see what happens there. There's also always the fight with Superleg that could still be on the horizon, which was a very close loss last time around. So let's see. I do think that the next fight that Rotang will have, and now it's at Rotang 2, Rotang will have, is probably going to be for the vacant title now, because they need a champion and they benefit from Rotang being champion, of course. So I think they give him another shot maybe. I don't know who's the second ranked fighter, because Jacob Smith was third. I don't know who's the second ranked fighter. Rotang versus this guy then, and then maybe he gets the title again, I think. Okay, other than that, there were a few other cool fights. Sam A was really cool. Sam A against, who did he fight? The Chinese fighter, nicknamed the Fighting Rooster. I forgot the name, I'm very sorry. Chang Pai Man. My pronunciation obviously not great with Chinese names, I apologize. Nicknamed Fighting Rooster. He's usually like starting very, very fast. I've seen him a few times in one championship. Sam A just had his number. Like he knew that's what's going to happen. So Sam A also started very fast, which is usually not a Thai style, especially not like an older fighter like Sam A, who I think is now also in his 40s already, 40, 41 or so. So respect there. He seemed faster. He seemed sharper. Avoided all those kicks and just put on a kickbox. It was a kickboxing bout, a kickboxing clinic to win. I'm not going through all the fights, but that was a very good fight. It was very fun to watch. And then, of course, I mean, the title fight in the women's bantamweight kickboxing division between Anissa Maxson, who's a kickboxing / Muay Thai star with like more than 200 fights, I think, and Jackie Buntan, who's like the new generation right now. So Jackie, while in the audience, I did think that Jackie Buntan won, I think, at least 3-2. I had it 4-1 rounds for her, to be honest. I think the only round that Anissa Maxson won, and not even that clearly, but I think one was round 4, in my opinion. So being live and watching from the stands, it looked like Jackie was avoiding all the high kicks, like just always leaning back just in time and then countering with punches, which doesn't look as flashy as a kick, but she leaned back and then she just threw 1-2 and connected lots of the times. So I think that was just smart. Anissa connected with lots of low kicks, which is fair. They don't count as much in kickboxing though, as maybe in Muay Thai. So, and also, I mean, Jackie, I'm not sure she checked a lot, but didn't seem to be as affected by those, if that's fair to say. And now you could ask if she still landed, yeah, but again, in kickboxing, they don't count as much. And Jackie did land with the punches just a lot more than Anissa, in my opinion. So at least that's how it looked like when you're from the stands. So maybe sometimes it looks different when you're watching it on YouTube or on TV, of course. But from the stands, I had no doubt that Jackie would win that. I thought maybe the judges would try to give it to Anissa because she's the bigger star. But again, Jackie's up and coming. She's been on a run now, I think 4 fights, 5, I'm not sure, in a row now. She really has come to her own with the boxing. She's great at boxing, of course, but her kicks are getting. And if I say getting better, it's pretty condescending. I don't mean, but I mean like she's getting more comfortable throwing kicks. So she, in the very beginning, the first few fights when I watched her, she barely threw any kicks, if I remember correctly. Now she's throwing a little bit more. So I think she could have thrown more kicks, says the Monday morning quarterback / coach, right? But every time she because she was so good at slipping the high kick from Anissa. If you slip the kick, I mean, I understand that you go for the punch combinations or just hit a nice hook or something, but you could also just like sometimes kick. They would have just to mix it up more. But I mean, you're the champion, so who am I to talk, right? So congratulations to Jackie Buntan, well deserved, and the roar that went through Lumpini Stadium when they announced that Jackie won was really, really cool to hear. So congratulations, Jackie Buntan. Well deserved, I think. Well deserved. Okay. I think that's enough of like recapping one championship. I'm not going to go through every single fight here. But it was a fun event, very early. Started at like 8 a.m., went until like 1 p.m. or something. So it's a really long event. It makes you really tired. But it was fun to watch. Yeah, going again soon, I think, but probably to a evening event and to a like more Thai heavy event without all the mega superstars, but therefore more action, because the MMA events weren't as exciting, I want to say. There was like, for example, Marcus Buchecha, right, who's very famous in the BJJ world, but it was just, I mean, he slipped a punch, took his opponent down, and then submitted him. Or Kate Ruotolo, super BJJ phenom, right? Landed one overhand punch, guy goes down, he chokes him out, which is awesome. Just wasn't as fun to watch because it was just over in 60 seconds, right? So I mean, I'd say congratulations, especially to Kate Ruotolo, of course, for making his way into MMA. But from a just viewer point of view, there was not that much to watch because it was over so quick. But obviously, from a fighter point of view, it's awesome. So congratulations. Okay, but let's move on a little bit, because it's not just one championship I want to discuss. Because I just sent a message to a friend like before I recorded here. There was a clip online where Giannis, talking NBA right now, right, where Giannis was like reaching out, trying to like say like, hey, high five to Jalen Brown, and Jalen Brown wants to high five, and he just goes like, just moves his hand away like in high school. And it's just hilarious. I'm like, hey, Jan is just like us. And then he was like, yeah, just triple the size, which is true. I find it, and what I just thought when we texted about the NBA, right? It's not just, I'm not going to analyze now the first 10 games or something, even though 11-0 for Cleveland, pretty impressive. Darius Garland balling out, which is really cool. Congratulations. I mean, he's been a great player for a while, but like that they are balling out like this, respect. Also, and Edwards balling out kind of like with his like 53s in 9 games or something. Third most threes in history in the first, I think, 9 games. Only Steph Curry twice had more threes. Just cool and interesting. I would have thought that if there's a team going O, like X and O for a while in the beginning, it would have been Minnesota, to be honest. Simply because I would have thought that with the addition of the new players like Julius Randle and so on, but maybe Cat leaving left like an opening in defense. I'm not sure, but interesting to see. Nevertheless, I am kind of a Mavs fan because I mean my hometown is the same hometown as Dirk Nowitzki, so ever since Dirk won the championship before when he tried to win it, so obviously big Mavs fan ever since, or big Dirk fan. So of course still supporting the Mavs, especially when they're playing well. I mean, always supporting, but when they're playing well, I'm happier. Luka Magic, of course, I'm always happy when I see Luka Magic highlights. We had a few nice times. They started well, but now struggling a little bit, but also tough schedule, of course. The Grizzlies, Ja Morant, let's see how long he can stay out of trouble. Let's hope, because I mean he's very talented, obviously. So it's fun to see. Cat in New York is interesting to see. I think in New York, I thought they would have had a better start, but I mean new team, like new formation, gotta figure things out. Fair. OKC, of course, also interesting. Chet Holmgren getting into his own, like coming into his own. Well, Caruso adding like to defense in particular, right, which is very interesting, and I think it's very, very, very cool to see. Shai, which I'm not the biggest fan of because Team Luka, but I mean Shai, of course, there. So that's all very cool to see. And I mean they're still very young, right? And I just saw the other day that like Draymond Green seems to be scared of OKC because he was hating on them. So as soon as Draymond Green is hating on someone, it means like he kind of like sees them as a potential threat. Which is fair. Like they're all like about having fun and like, yo, bro culture, which Draymond hates. He said there's a time and place, and this is not a time and a place for it. But just imagine if their bro culture actually leads to success. And I mean, Yuki, right? This dude, what is he, 170, and just throwing dimes and doing like Harlem Globetrotter stuff, and hitting his step back 3 for his first ever field goal. I mean, you can't script it better. There's just lots of fun to watch. Lastly, of course, I mean, Wemby is crazy. I mean, he added like 3-pointers to his game now. I'm not sure if Chris Paul has the impact they expected he would have, but then again, he's also 40-ish, right? So what impact could he have is the question. But yes, I'm very, very looking forward to like the NBA picking up, and I'm so happy that Inside the NBA is back, but I'm so sad that this is the last season for Inside the NBA, because I mean, what we're gonna do without Shaq and Chuck and Ernie and Kenny's excuses. One of the 2 best analyst shows on the planet, I think, Inside the NBA, next to CBS Golazo network of the Champions League recaps with Kate and the boys. So yeah, definitely gonna miss it, and we're gonna have like an episode just on that, how they changed culture and basketball coverage and all those things. Because I think if you're looking back, you will see like how much of an impact Inside the NBA actually had on the NBA, but also on the culture surrounding the NBA. Because I think that's pretty impressive, and we're definitely gonna analyze this in more detail as we move on. Well, would have been remiss if I wouldn't talk about that thing that happened. Yeah, like, okay, a week ago, when this podcast comes out a week ago, Donald Trump became the next president-elect for the United States of America, the land of the free. And I mean, I analyzed it in my media episode, right? Like his communication style and everything. So good job there. Just a few like fun out loud ideas there, thoughts. Because, Rogan, all the comedians, impressive how they impacted that, of course, but they all called it like, it was our only hope and he was too big to rig. So if you believe that there's like this secret whatever society, those plans, communities, not community would be too positive, like organizations like conspiring to control everybody, you really think they wouldn't get to Donald Trump? So I'm not saying they are. Don't make me sound like Alex Jones, okay? I'm just saying you think they control everybody, but not Donald Trump, the guy who has so many businesses, lots of them. Let's not talk about it. The guy has so many businesses. You tell me that he's the one guy that if they would exist, they wouldn't be able to get to? Please. It's like, felt like Barney when Barney sits and How I Met Your Mother. What? So what's your job again? Please. Yeah, so really? So I'm not saying all conspiracies, but you tell me that he's the one free thinker, and you tell me Elon Musk is the one guy who's the richest guy in the world. He's the nice guy. Please. But it doesn't mean I'm pro Kamala or whatever. I'm not even American and I don't live in the US, so I'm pro nothing there in this case, but against everything, against all odds too. But I just don't see it as black and white like Joe Rogan makes it out to be honest. Okay, but that's enough of the election. Let's see what's gonna happen, because I mean, as you might know, my home country has issues too, so I shouldn't be throwing with stones. Okay, I have a few more quick thoughts, and then after this first ramble of the Funk Out Loud, I'm gonna then decide, like, in the next episodes, like, what to focus on more. So before I actually turn on the camera, I just came back from a Muay Thai training in the morning. Morning training, by the way, so much tougher. Maybe because I don't eat in the morning because of the intermittent fasting, so I don't eat before I go train in the morning. Usually I just go to the gym in the morning, then I go work. Then I do Muay Thai in the evening. But today, because I didn't have to work in the morning, I work from home in the morning, so like more flexible today. So I was like, okay, let's do Muay Thai in the morning, get it out of the way, and then just work full speed. Yeah, that full speed's not working right now because I'm so tired. Training, especially like cardio heavy training like Muay Thai, lots of movement, lots of kicks in the morning. It hits different when you haven't eaten. Like it hits different. It also hits different when you go to the gym first and then you do Muay Thai. It also hits different there. I did realize that I've been hurt like in the groin area for a while, for like a week or so now. So the front kick really, really is the thing that hurts the most actually, which is crazy. And then of course also like the long knees. So I try to compensate it a little bit. It didn't work. Then if you try to compensate it with like different moves, or you're like, okay, I'm not gonna throw as many right kicks, I'm gonna throw more left kicks. And then of course the other side starts to hurt because you're compensating with the other side, which was not smart. If you have any tips for like how to stretch that groin area better, and I did all those stretches like on the floor, like leg spread and stuff, like do let me know if there's anything that helps. I did use Nama Muay, the Muay Thai oil and stuff like this as well, of course. But if you have anything, please do let me know. Yeah, I wanted to share any techniques that I learned as of late, but since I'm so hurt, I've been hurt for like a week, 1.5. I haven't added any more new techniques to it. Like one of my coaches, usually the coaches do like, they rotate, or not rotate, but they just switch here and there, depends on how many people are there. So the last few times there were like 2 coaches that trained with me, like one round this, then a second round another one, third round another one, and so on. And so one of them is now doing lots of jumping knees, because I also play volleyball, so I jump not super high, but I can jump. And so they enjoy seeing that. So lots of jumping knees these days, and like usually then also like a combo of like jumping teep and then a jumping kick afterwards. Of course, it's nothing you would throw in a fight all the time, but it's just fun to do on the pads or on the back, of course. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna share more Muay Thai training stuff once the pain has gone and once I'm able to train harder and hit all the moves again. Because today, like one of my favorite moves on the back, just for fun, of course. I mean, and you wouldn't hit it as much in a fight. In sparring, you try here and there, but in a fight, I don't think I ever tried it. To be honest, like a spinning back kick, spinning back teep, if you will. It's fun to throw on the back. It's fun to throw on like you miss the kick and then you just go with the spinning back kick. But yeah, that's nothing I have tried in a fight. So let me get healthy. I will gonna add more Muay Thai. If you have any favorite combos though or anything, then that's why I added. Let me know what's your favorite Muay Thai or boxing or kickboxing combo? Is anything that you love to hit on the pads for that you really enjoy? For example, one thing that and it's very, very basic. I just haven't done it like to that extent. There's like one new coach and we're just getting to know each other with the flow. So the flow isn't there just yet, but it's very cool. And at the end of each round, what he makes me do right now, very basic. It's just, okay, now we do it like 20 times. The round is over. Let's do it 20 times. Let's go like just for step in, left hook, kick. Super basic, nothing crazy, but it just, because we've been doing it like a lot now. Like every time I train with him, he does it. It just feels like you're finally connecting with the hook. Like you're getting some power in there, and then you hook, and then you just throw the power kick. It just feels nice, and I've just never utilized it as a combo like that, right? So it's just like muscle memory now. I've been doing this for maybe like a month now or so since he came, or 2 months, and so now it just flows better. So curious, what are your combos that you like to do? Because I'd love to add some new combos to my repertoire too. Okay, so shout out in the comments. So what are your go-to Muay Thai combos? Would be cool. Kickboxing, boxing combos would be cool to hear. Last few things I wanted to discuss because I'm rambling and I enjoy this right now. Is, well, looking for a smooth transition, but there are no smooth transitions when it comes to funking out loud. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. I also do enjoy football, and I started to follow German football a bit more because I'm from Germany and clearly Bundesliga over Premier League, well, any day of the week. Don't unfollow for that. And it's just crazy. And again, I'm not going to recap all the games now, but it's crazy to see how Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga is not dominating again. But in the Champions League, they're not great. I mean, I know they won the last game now 1-0 or what, against like whatever that was. But I don't know. It's a Vincent company, or however you call him, Vincent. Very German Vincent. Does he have like a magic touch for the Bundesliga, or was last year just like a hiccup with like Stuttgart and Leverkusen being better? Just very interesting. But then again, you watch last night or 2 nights ago the game Bayern versus St. Pauli, which is a club that should battle relegation, and they just win 1-0 with like a golazo. Just learned that word not too long ago from German Bundesliga. It was like great goal, but I mean also what a lucky goal, like crossbar and then the post and it goes in. I mean, great goal. Couldn't save it, of course. Nothing to do for the keeper. But you're not making that goal like 9 times out of 10. So, and that's the one goal you get to actually win. And I'm not sure, it's so hard. Like in the beginning, you're like, oh, Bayern's dominating again, and now it's like barely scraping by. I don't know. I still don't know what to think about it. I don't know. Leverkusen, then it seems like they made a deal with the devil last year to always win last minute, or at least like draw last minute and never lose. And now it's like they didn't pay up or something. I don't know, because now it always bites them in the butt. So now they drew last minute against the bottom of the table Bochum, who they just lost every game this past few weeks. Like they lost badly. I think last week was like 2-7 or something crazy. And now they get the 1-1 equalizer in the last minute on Leverkusen. So it's like the deal with the devil is up, and now the devil comes to collect. Crazy, really crazy. And you could see like the body language of Leverkusen players just like really angry, really mad. So interesting to see that. I do some more football talk if that's something that people relate to, because there are some interesting developments happening also in regards to media ownership and so on, and who's reporting on it and the like. So gonna talk about this too a little bit. So if that's of interest, let me know what you think about the Bundesliga. Do you follow Bundesliga? What do you think about Dortmund? Dortmund, yeah, feeling really bad for Nuri Sahin, right? Like, oh my God, and you had such good transfers, and you would think those transfers make sure that Dortmund's going to be like top three again, and then it just lost 1-3 to Mainz. Mainz again. It cost them the title like 2 years ago, right? Oh my God, crazy. What's happening in Dortmund? It's insane to see. Personally, I'm kind of happy for Union Berlin that they don't struggle as much as last year, even though they just drew with Freiburg. But Freiburg, of course, is on a crazy run this season so far. So that's kind of cool to see. More on this also as we move on, when I don't just throw random topics at everybody. But yeah, so Bundesliga gonna be like part of this podcast too, of course. Also part of the podcast, only like 3 more things before I wrap it up, but I just wanted to let you know like what's gonna be in here in the Funk Out Loud session. Another part is gonna be volleyball, because I play lots of volleyball. I used to play lots of volleyball back then in Germany, way more than I play now. So we're gonna talk about volleyball, beach volleyball in this regard as well, like training, what you can train, like different systems, changes that you see and the like. So it's gonna be a huge topic here in the podcast as well. I'm trying to get more into it again, because I right now I'm only playing like once a week on a very recreational level, which is fun for like just being there, but I try to get more into it again. And beach, maybe like once a week I play beach too. So, and the thing is, and that's the only thing I'm going to say today, because we're already going quite long, but I think I've always thought I'm a way better indoor player, which I think everybody who sees me play would probably agree with. But as I get older, like beach has its advantages. I'm not tall, right? I'm 180 on a good day, centimeters. So obviously centimeters. I'm on 180 on a good day. My vertical isn't that high. I can hit the ball down, but not like someone who's like 190, 2 meters. Right? Obviously, like when I block, I have to like go all out to actually set a block. So it's also easier for others, but like it's just so much easier on the joints, and I'm so much less hurt compared to volleyball. And especially here in Bangkok, the volleyball courts are just so bad. At least like those public available ones where you have to rent a court and stuff, and like public available like sports gyms. Holy, those floors they're not great. Even fancy gyms with like illuminated floors and stuff, the quality of the floor like is not great, and you're just hurt all the time. So I really appreciate beach way more now than I always enjoyed it, but I just always thought like I'm an indoor player, so I like indoor much better. But yeah, at some point in the future, it's going to be time to just hit the switch and like switch to more beach than indoor, I'm afraid. God. And then I can't even hit that hard anymore when I'm getting older, so I have to cut shots galore. Cuts and pokes. Here we go. Here, but the beach volleyball going to be a big segment of this podcast as well. So if you have any tips, tricks, questions, maybe even, I used to be an FIVB certified referee too, just to put it out there. If you have any refereeing questions, shout out as well. Okay. All right. But yeah, so that's going to be part of the next episode as well. What also is going to be part of the next episode is my university life and just university experiences. Because in my media segment, I analyze stuff based on my work, but I never really talk about my work. Okay. So I also thought, hey, maybe there are fellow educators out there, fellow teachers, professors. Maybe we can just exchange, like, how's it going where you are? How are you trying to propel change, disrupt the system, and so on? Because I'm trying a lot. I've been trying a lot these past, 2 years. I've always been trying, but this past 2 years, I've been trying a lot with organizing events, organizing, like, company collaborations, like industry collaborations, stuff like this. And it just feels like that the faculty university isn't appreciating it, or doesn't know how to appreciate it, doesn't know how to support it, because there are no frameworks for it. There are only frameworks for like academic stuff, which then don't really lead to impact. It's just very frustrating. So I'm very curious to hear how you're propelling change, disrupting the system, trying to help students, trying to make some change within the system or changing the system from the outside. I'm just very curious to hear more about that. That will be a big part of the podcast as we move on as well. Okay, so please do, if you're an educator, teacher, professor, reach out, shout out, comment, get in touch, send me. Maybe we can have like a podcast together or something, because I really want to discuss like how to impact education on a bigger scale. Okay. Also on small scales, like just how to impact education per se. Okay, shout out. Okay, do shout out. You can also send an email, funkitpod@gmail.com if you prefer that, because I know academics, professors, teachers maybe like emails better. Okay, lastly, and you see me wearing the shirt if you're watching the video feed. I went to Argentina, and I talked about the conference in the podcast, but I didn't talk about Argentina as a country. So 2 or 3 minutes very quickly. That's of course not enough to talk about Argentina as a country, and I've only been to Buenos Aires for a week, but it was pretty cool. And so Buenos Aires is definitely not like the paradise. Like, I'm not gonna be like, hey, it was so amazing, we're just gonna want to move there. So people say when they come to Bangkok, for example. And Bangkok is great to some extent. But yeah, so Buenos Aires was fantastic to see. It made me feel a little bit like back home in Berlin, with a little bit of like Sydney in there, if I just throw some cities together that I lived in before. Why, in particular Berlin? Why? Because it's a bit dirty at times. Well, not just all like clean, and you see homeless people and stuff. But it's not. I mean, I haven't been to the scary parts where people say don't go there. But it's not like scary or disgusting dirty, at least where I've been. But then, of course, tourist first time Buenos Aires, I'm probably not walking into like the ghetto neighborhoods. Obviously, I did walk, and I wear the shirt of the Boca Juniors. I did walk to Boca, where everybody said, don't walk there, just take a taxi there and just get out there, because that's where the tourists are. But the way there, you shouldn't walk. Then I walked there. I walked there when it got dark too, once in the evening. I did not feel like I'm in danger or anything. I saw some weird people. I saw a guy in a diaper. But other than that, did not feel like I'm in any particular danger. And in this very moment, at least, I don't know how it's like really at night or when the gangs come out. I have no clue. But I just didn't feel like that I was in danger at any time while I was in Buenos Aires. Then again, I looked like a tourist, so they maybe don't approach tourists like that anymore, because they know if you hurt tourists, it's bad for everybody. So I don't know, but I did not feel like I'm in danger. I did like Buenos Aires. I did like being at the river. I did like the food, the street food. I did like the art, the street art I saw, the old buildings, the architecture, the history. It was just very nice to see, because just, again, so very different to what we have in Germany, but also here in Bangkok, where I've been living for like a decade now, right? So it was just very, very, very nice to see. Talk to a few locals, obviously, also a local guide there, and then listening to like inflation stories and how they don't trust the currency and how they don't trust the politicians, which is, I think, a global thing, but it's been really bad. In Argentina, of course, was very interesting and makes you then also think about your own situation. And not a politics podcast just yet, maybe the future. But I'm also going to talk a little bit about politics as we move on, not just about Trump, but also about European politics. I'm from Germany. Thai politics, maybe not as much, because I do need my visa. So keeping that at bay probably, but European politics and the like. The trip to Argentina did inspire me to think a little bit about like where we're from, where we're heading, problems that are there in the world, and so on. So I'm going to try to also talk a little bit about that, of course. Overall, last thing on Argentina, I did study Spanish at the university, like intensive Spanish courses for like few years. According to university, I was considered kind of fluent. I mean, they said fluent, but I mean, it's been a few years, of course. But so when I listen to Spanish songs, I'm okay. When I read Spanish stuff, reading is okay. Yeah, in Argentina it's not okay. I mean, reading is still fine, of course, and I could order food on the apps and stuff, for example, so that's no problem. But when you listen to Argentinian Spanish, Oi, oi. Hola, ¿dónde está la biblioteca? It was interesting. It was a very interesting. I learned a lot. I learned a lot very, very quickly, which was nice. Okay, and that's. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here with the rambles. We've been in 45 minutes, so it's way longer than my media episodes. But I just want to put out there where this podcast is heading. So we will have like different segments in those Funk Out Loud podcast episodes now. Maybe sometimes I talk more about football, sometimes I talk more about like martial arts, sometimes more about university life, just so that you know what's going to happen. There will be Funk Out Loud episodes now once a week, and I hope we get some traction out of that. For today, for example, if you're into martial arts, let me know your training, your favorite combos. If you're into education, let me know your struggles, but also let me know how you solved it, for example. How do you overcome the academic or also like the bureaucracy, for example, all those hurdles that are in your way? How are you disrupting? How are you changing things? Do let me know. It would be cool to hear. Either at FunkitPod on social media, in the comments, review wherever you're listening to this podcast. Do leave a review, it would be very cool. Or funkitpod@gmail.com via email. I very much appreciate anyone who reaches out, who leaves some thoughts and so on. Until then, you know the drill. Stay safe, take care, and we'll talk soon. #FOL. Until then, sorry, Cup.